Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some news coming out here for you regarding these ICC arrest warrants for the Israeli government and also top leaders of Hamas. So if you weren't aware of this, on Monday, the top ICC prosecutor, he filed applications for arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, and also two top leaders of Hamas, so Sinwar and also Ismail Haniyeh. Okay, so most likely these arrest warrants are coming, and they haven't completely announced it yet, but they did announce that they were applying for these applications, okay, or filing the applications, excuse me. So this is pretty big news, and now we've got information coming out that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is preparing Congress to sanction the ICC for these arrest warrants. Now, this is huge because I was talking about this, I think just yesterday actually, giving you an update regarding these ICC arrest warrants. And during that video, I told you guys that I wasn't sure whether these sanctions would be coming. We'll have to wait and see. And just 24 hours later, not even that, it was actually almost the same day, later that evening, that we had this news coming out. So yeah, it looks like the Congress of the United States is going to be trying to figure out a way to sanction them heavily to either prevent this from happening or maybe to, I don't know, dissolve their organization or make it very difficult for them to even issue any further warrants, maybe for the United States. Okay, so this is obviously a big problem for Congress because anybody who's involved with what's going on over here in Gaza could definitely be issued arrest warrants. And I'm sure Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, anybody who has funneled aid over to Israel that is using these weapons, these bombs, especially the United States, considering that they're giving the majority of the aid to Israel in regards to this war, they will definitely be targeted at some point, more than likely, if they don't put a stop to this now. So that's why they're starting to figure out a way to sanction the ICC. So I've got a few things I want to go over here. We have an article, and also some expos to go over with some additional information. So let's go ahead and get into this and read about it. Speaker Johnson eyes legislation to sanction ICC officials over arrest warrant requests. So this was just coming out yesterday. Speaker Mike Johnson is eyeing legislation to sanction International Criminal Court, or ICC officials after the entity requested arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, and among others. Johnson, who sharply criticized the ICC's move against Netanyahu and Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, told reporters Tuesday the details of the legislation are still being worked out, but he noted he wants to move forward with the rebuke as quickly as possible. So if you notice, they're trying to move on this quick, okay? They want to hurry up and sanction them now before they even issue these arrest warrants, because what will happen here is if these arrest warrants get issued, if Benjamin Netanyahu or Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, let's say they try to travel to Europe or something, these countries could be forced to arrest them, okay? And this could be huge because obviously Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, they have to travel a lot of times to other countries to, work with them and make sure they're getting the supplies that they need and things like that. And it will basically make it difficult for them to do that. Okay, so it says here, we do, and we're working on what will be the best option for that. I think it will be bipartisan, Johnson said when he asked if he plans to put a measure on the floor to respond to the requested arrest warrants. Pressed on whether the effort will include a sanction of the individuals involved in the arrest warrants requests, Johnson said that'll be a component of it. So this is the ICC prosecutor, Karim Khan. He announced Monday that he filed applications for arrest warrants for Netanyahu, Gallant, Sinwar, and Ismail Haniyeh, another leader of Hamas, citing evidence of war crimes committed throughout the conflict between Israel and Hamas. So this is one of the prosecutors that would most likely be sanctioned as well, along with the organization of the ICC. In a statement, Khan and Sinwar, Haniyeh, and Mohammed Diab Ibrahim al-Masri, the commander of the Hamas military wing, bear criminal responsibility for war crimes committed against Israel, including taking people hostage, sexual violence, extermination, and torture. He also accused Netanyahu and Gallant of bearing criminal responsibility for utilizing starvation as a method of war, and intentional targeting of civilians, extermination, and persecution, among other allegations. ICC judges will now weigh whether to uphold the request for arrest warrants, which could stretch on for months. The U.S. and Israel are not parties of the court, and the U.S. relationship with the ICC has been fraught for decades. So yeah, this is something too. Is don't expect this to be an overnight thing, or maybe even with the next week. It could possibly take months before we hear any of these arrest warrants coming out. It could be well after this war in Gaza is even over. Okay, so Johnson slammed the ICC's request for arrest warrants Monday, writing in a statement that the court's baseless and illegitimate decision should face global condemnation. International bureaucrats cannot be allowed to use lawfare to usurp the authority of democratic nations that maintain the rule of law, he said. In the absence of leadership from the White House, Congress is reviewing all options, including sanctions, to punish the ICC and ensure its leadership faces consequences if they proceed. If excuse me, if the ICC is allowed to threaten Israeli leaders, ours could be next. So there you go, right there. That's a big statement. Okay, if the ICC is allowed to threaten Israeli leaders, ours could be next. And he's talking about Congress, okay? He's talking about the United States government, the Biden administration. Anybody who has been actively involved in this war could be next up in line for these arrest warrants. So obviously they're protecting themselves as well because they know that they're going to be up next, okay? So very big news here. So I've got a couple other things here we're going to go over. First, I want to go over the X post here from Speaker Mike Johnson. Okay, this is his actual post here on X. So the ICC has no authority over Israel or the United States, and today's baseless and illegitimate decision should face global condemnation. International bureaucrats cannot be allowed to use lawfare to usurp the authority of democratic nations that maintain the rule of law. Israel is fighting a just war for survival, and the ICC is attempting to equate Israeli officials to the evil terrorists who perpetrated the October 7th massacre. It's clear the ICC's decision has been advanced due to the Biden administration's pressure campaign against Israel and its outlandish State Department investigations. In the absence of leadership from the White House, Congress is reviewing all options, including sanctions, to punish the ICC and ensure its leadership faces consequences if they proceed. If the ICC is allowed to threaten Israeli leaders, ours could be next. So, like I said, they're definitely worried about this. They're worried that these arrest warrants could eventually come for, Mike Johnson. It could come for many other top leaders of the Biden administration. Okay, maybe even President Biden himself. Who knows? This will open the door for that. And now what I'm starting to see is lots of talk on the internet, even on X, of many people stating, okay, well, if Benjamin Netanyahu is being accused of war crimes, okay, what about this president? What about this person from this country or that person? I'm not going to state any names, of course, but there's lots of talk about that other people are committing crimes too. How come there's no, arrest warrants for them, but there is for Benjamin Netanyahu? So definitely lots of controversial conversations going around, and it's a very soft topic for a lot of people. But this is what the ICC is planning to do, okay? They're planning to try to go after the Israeli government and also top leaders of Hamas, which I think it kind of balances it out, because obviously all the top people that are involved on both sides, it doesn't matter whether you're for Hamas or whether you're for Israel, both sides are involved in this when it comes to these innocent people that have been killed. And as far as we know, there's well over 35,000 people that have been murdered in the Gaza Strip, okay? So it's very bad. So a couple other things I want to go over. We've got a few countries that are coming forward, and saying that if Benjamin Netanyahu or Defense Minister Yoav Gallant sets foot in their country, they're going to have to arrest them. So it says here from Megatron Ron, just in, Germany joins France and Norway. Netanyahu will be arrested if he sets foot in Germany. Germany would, of course, execute a potential ICC arrest warrant against Israel's Netanyahu, the government spokesman says. So now we've got Germany coming out and saying that if Netanyahu comes to Germany, he will be arrested, okay, if these ICC arrest warrants are issued against the Israeli government. Okay, so now we know we've got Germany, France, and Norway coming out. And then, here it is right here, the confirmation from Norway. So from Megatron, Ron again, breaking, Norway will arrest Netanyahu. Netanyahu will comply with the ICC's arrest warrant against Netanyahu and Gallant. If there is an arrest warrant against Netanyahu and Gallant from the Hague court, we will have to arrest them if they arrive in Norway, Norway's foreign minister said. So, like I said, we've got multiple countries, and these are all countries that are basically supportive of Israel, as far as I know. So, this is a big deal, okay? If this ends up happening, these two leaders here from Israel, Yoav Gallant and also Benjamin Netanyahu, will not be able to travel to many European nations that they work hand in hand with. So it'll be very difficult for them to continue to fight this war. And then think about the fact if this war expands over here. Okay, we have lots of talk, and I've been covering this for months, that if at some point they have to go after Hezbollah, let's say, or maybe some of these other Iranian-backed groups that they've been going after for a while, even the IRGC Quds Force, let's say, for example, this war could continue for a long time, and this could make it very difficult for Israel to get the weaponry that they need, and they won't be able to make major negotiations with other countries if they can't even travel there and discuss things in person with them. So what we're starting to see here is Israel become more isolated from the world, especially the West, when that's majority of their partners. And it's again, it's making it more difficult for them to continue the fighting here. And obviously the pressure from the ICC is designed to make them halt or put a ceasefire or a stop to this war, at least temporarily or potentially permanently. So yeah, that's going to be it for this update, though. Just wanted to get this out there to you. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope y'all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.